Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB and RacinBoys Radio. I'm Scott Trey along with Kirk Elliott, and joining us now is three-time Lucas Oil ASCS National Champion Jason Johnson. How you doing, Jason?
Doing really good this morning, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Man, thanks for getting up early on a Saturday morning. We appreciate it. Congratulations on picking up the third championship. You've got to be thrilled the way it worked out for you. You had a lot of things going on this year, and it's all worked out.
Yeah, I'll tell you, with the uncertainties of jumping ship and running the Roush Yates Ford for the season, it was exciting to bring home a championship victory to these guys, and it just shows how much hard work they put into it. But the race team did a good job all season long. It was a good, hard-fought battle all year long, and when it comes time at the end to worry about points, that's when you got to get after it.
Right. Well, we'll talk a little more about the season in a whole, but let's talk about the Western World Championships. Look like you might be on your way to picking up that $10,000 out there, but unfortunately, right rear tire give up on you.
Yeah, Brady and I believe we were racing each other pretty hard, and I knew it was lane rubber, and we went with a little bit harder left rear, and when the yellow come out, we actually got the lead there right before the yellow come out, and I thought I was in really good shape. I looked down the left rear and got plenty of tire left on the left rear, and the guys are standing at the fence and pointing to the right rear, and they tell me I'm okay. So I figured I was good to race and race hard, and they didn't tell me my tire was bald, so I really didn't deviate a whole lot, and within 2 laps, it definitely went down.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for you and Brady, it didn't work out the way you guys were hoping for. Western World out there at Canyon, man, we had a nice turnout of people out there. What did you think overall of the Western World?
It's a good event. Anytime they run the 3-day events and the split shows, it's good for the crowd, and anytime that you see the qualifiers and the heat races, I think that was a little extra to the show for the weekend. I know it wasn't quite anticipated, but it turned out really well. First 2 nights I felt like the track was excellent. I don't know if it was because of the field being split or what it was due to the car count, but the first 2 nights of racing was quite fabulous. And, every time I experience racing out in the desert, it either goes from one extreme to the other. Either you got to race on somewhat of a heavy track or you could get ready for the rubber, and that's what we've seen over the 3 days.
Weren't you a little surprised the way the track went during the AMA? Because, to be honest with you, I didn't think it was going to take the rubber the way it did in the AMA. The way they worked the track and all, I don't know. Maybe it's just my lack of experience, but I didn't see that coming. Did you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've seen it. We stood at the fence and watched the non-wing race, and anytime they rework the track the way they do, and, obviously wherever the moisture is, that's the fastest line. Unfortunately, just below that moisture is, that was one of the slickest lines with the non-wing guys, and their left rears are dragging just below the curb, and it just cleaned right off and got real black. And, once we got out there and started running top line, it didn't take but just a couple laps with 24 cars for where the left rears are starts laying rubber. Then once it starts laying rubber, it just constantly just keeps moving its way down. Yeah.
Well, Jason, I want to talk a little bit about your Roush Yates program. 14 wins this year, third championship. Just kind of give us a grade where you started with the Roush Yates program, where it ended, and how much improvement you made through the year from the start to finish, you think?
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wanted to get involved with our sprint car team. We're really excited for him to be involved, and one of the key factors for him to be a part is he obviously wanted to help Roush Yates broaden their brand and try to get a little more recognition for them in the 360 area, try to help Doug and the guys earn some respect on the racetrack, show that their engines are reliable, and that's what the relationship was. And we started the season off with a few uncertainties, but I tell you what, these guys did a good job for having something unique and different. It was definitely the talk of the season for most of the year because of the horsepower and obviously the concern about the engine revolutions, RPMs. Mm-hmm. And as the year went on, working at Chris Moss, we just fine-tuned the product. And it really wasn't much internal stuff, just stuff on the exterior, changing stacks and spark plugs and fuel settings and just little bitty things. And it just comes from using our experience of racing sprint cars for all the years and their experience in the in the engine shop. Just it worked out to be a great combination. I think we got a great product now here at the end of the season. We proved that they could win races. We proved that they're reliable day in and day out with no engine failures. And it's going to be a good relationship for years to come.
What do you say to people, though, that are concerned that they won't be able to keep up with the R&D of the Roush Yates? I mean, there's people, they're naysayers. We know who they are. We don't need to call them out by name. But what do you tell people that are concerned about the cost of that motor? And I understand that there's other engine builders that charge the same amount of money or more out there. But just, I think there's a lot of people that are afraid of the R&D. What do you say to that?
Well, anytime something comes in new and it seems to be bigger and better, people are resistant against it. Mm-hmm. And basically what it is, it's no different than a new racer coming into our series and all of a sudden winning all these races. It's you want to live in disbelief that you worked all these years to get yourself in a position to win races, and this person shows up and is competing with you day in and day out. And I believe that's probably the concept of where Roush Yates stands right now. These guys, obviously they have a lot of R&D. They understand a lot from back in the NASCAR days and running that engine in NASCAR. So they understood the bottom end, and just working together and getting them familiar with, dirt track racing and sprint car racing and Chris Moss coming to the racetrack. I think that's really how they got ahead. The way they got ahead is they had a technical support. Chris come to different regions of the country to see different areas to improve in all the areas. Where a lot of engine builders, they'll support all their racers and all their customers when they're within their driving distance of their location.
Right.
So I think that was probably the key factor of, having an engine that runs day in and day out across the country.
All right. We're in the final minute of the program. I got to ask you, Jason, I guess the plans are to come back and defend, try to pick up your fourth ASCS national title in 2013. Is that correct?
Still right now at this point, we got some uncertainties. We're waiting and working on sponsorship really hard. Personally, I'd love to come back and defend the title and run for a fourth championship. But, we're going to see in time and see what comes out of it.
All right, Jason. Hey, thanks for always letting me be a pain in your butt coming down there and interview you. I know that sometimes, you don't always agree with what I say sometimes, but I love your passion. I love what you are for ASCS. It'd be a travesty if we lose you on the national tour, and I just want to thank you for everything you do for the national tour and RacinBoys here in the last couple of years, man. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on the show, and the same to RacinBoys. Thanks for all you committed to ASCS.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Jason Johnson, three-time Lucas Oil ASCS national champion.